Now, I don't see any backlash against Maxine Peake. I'm not saying there should be, but she was allowed to basically just apologise and then everything moves on. She hasn't become a figure of hate. She's not been cancelled. I'm sure she won't lose acting work as a result. Why do you think there are different rules for different sides of the debate?
I think this very leftist agenda has been marching through our institutions for decades. And I think, you just have to take one look at the Equity Council elections to see what battle they have with this leftist agenda and this Marxism. And, she's got the right opinions for the right profession.
Hello, welcome to the channel, thanks for clicking. Now, I've got to talk about this video I came across which nicely sums up the situation we find ourselves in today and also highlights the differences in media response between the actors Maxine Peake and Laurence Fox, two white actors who have spoken out against various movements with highly controversial comments. So, if you've been living under a rock for the past 6 months, here's some background. Essentially, Laurence Fox is a British actor who has been in a fair few popular and primetime programmes here in the UK. But in January 2020, he went on the political debating BBC show Question Time, where he spoke out against the racism narrative being pushed at the time in relation to the media's treatment of Meghan Markle. Naturally, as this was on the lefty BBC, and he was openly going against the groupthink ideology, he got himself into hot water and into an actual confrontation with an audience member, where she accused him of basically not being able to have an opinion on race because he's never experienced it due to his quote-unquote white privilege. Here's a snippet for context. I'm sure you can judge for yourself who's the same one here.
Let's be really clear about what this is. Let's call it by its name. It's racism.
We're the most tolerant, lovely country in Europe. Let's celebrate our women.
What worries me about your comment is you are a white privileged male who has no experience in it.
I mean,
I can't help what I am. I was born like this. It's an immutable characteristic. So to call me a white privileged male is to be racist. You're being racist.
You cannot dismiss. Okay.
Whilst this won him a lot of fans on Twitter, at home and with the man on the street, he has been pilloried and crucified in the media ever since, losing work and most crucially, having his own union Equity effectively disowning him in the aftermath. Luckily, once everything died down, they stepped back in their comments, but how scary and unjust is it that your own union refuses to represent you, all for simply saying that criticism of Meghan Markle is not based in racism and such accusations are simply getting boring now. That's all he said. I mean, he was right in my view. Throwing around the race card when criticising an obnoxious, patronising American princess who just happens to be mixed race is beyond lazy and definitely beyond boring now. Regardless of whether you even agree though, those are his opinions, and he expressed them in a polite manner on a show for which the entire purpose is being able to promote debate. What the audience member was trying to do was suppress his voice based on his skin colour, which is wrong. It's just wrong. Now at this point, a union should certainly not be getting involved, let alone denouncing one of their own clients. How many actors have been on Question Time in previous years who have voiced zesty opinions and which have never really caused such an outrage as Laurence's? I can remember Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, I think last year, causing a stir with his pro-Brexit views, where the media accused him of quote-unquote losing it because once again he dared to air conservative viewpoints. I don't think ever much came of Russell Brand or Eddie Izzard over the years when they went on Question Time and started espousing their far left propaganda. I don't remember much happening there. But to return to the main point, last week another popular actress, Maxine Peake, made the news when Labour's then Shadow Education Secretary Rebecca Long-Bailey retweeted the actress's tweet, which talked about UK police techniques having been learned from Israeli and special forces, and by many the implication of this, especially given Maxine Peake is a lifelong Labour supporter and activist, was considered highly anti-Semitic. So much so that Sir Keir Starmer, as a Labour leader in desperate need to repair relations with the Jewish community after the disastrous Corbyn era nuked the trust and safety of Jewish members, instantly fired Long-Bailey from her cabinet position. However, the most interesting thing here is that Peake subsequently issued a rather wishy-washy "I was wrong" statement that wasn't quite an apology, but then that was the end of it. No union involvement, no distancing or dropping of clients, no nothing. Thankfully, saner heads prevailed for Mr. Fox, and his union issued an apology, although shamefully it took them 2 full months to do so, and after the resignation of the union's entire race equality committee had resigned in protest. I want to read you this because this was their statement, and specifically they said, "We are sorry that in the tweets he was called a disgrace by Equity. It was a mistake for Equity as an organisation to criticise him in this way." Good. Nothing in Equity's later statement was intended as a slur on his character or views, or to suggest that he should be denied the ability to work. We would like to make that clear. Well, if your own representatives are out here calling you a disgrace, the implication of that really is casting agents and production should stay away from this guy, right? That's what they're saying. So it sounds like they were absolutely implying that he should be denied the ability to work, and absolutely they intended it as a slur on his character and views. And as seen earlier, the fact that the committee who initially said all this had to resign in protest of the apology itself, rather than personally take responsibility for tarnishing this guy, says it all. Says it all. Good riddance, I say. If this is how intolerant they are of dissenting opinions, anyone would think he went on Question Time with a shaved head and performed a sombre reading of Mein Kampf. Unbelievable. But why the difference in treatment in the media between Peake and Fox? Is it because they can't bear to show Labour and the left in a bad light, whilst they feel free to smear Laurence Fox as alt-right, whatever that is, and consider him fair game? So as I said, it's telling that her acting union has not made a statement or distanced themselves from her in any way. And in national media, she hasn't been cancelled, she hasn't been vilified, she hasn't lost work. Zip, zero, zilch. In fact, she was on a primetime BBC One programme this week and nothing was said about that in the media. The whole thing's completely gone away for her in a few days, whilst Laurence Fox is trolled every day on Twitter. In so much so that he's been hounded off Twitter pretty much and he's gone onto the parlour. As Mr. Fox says in the video, I guess Miss Peake simply has the right opinions for the right profession. So what do you think about all this? Do you agree in the seemingly unfair media treatment between these two actors? Is there something I've missed? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you like the video, hit the shiny red subscribe button for more content, and also click the little bell for notifications for future videos. See you next time. Watch out for Marxists.